Hola! So today we are going to take a walk up through probably my favorite neighborhood in Granada. It's the neighborhood of Sacromonte, the cave neighborhood that you could see when we were up in the Alhambra the other day. You could see behind me the Albaicin, which is the old Moorish quarter, and then the gypsy cave neighborhood called Sacromonte. So we're going to be walking up there and showing you a bit of that beautiful neighborhood and the gorgeous views of the Alhambra from there. We're going to start here where we are right now, which is called Paseo de los Tristes, or the Walk of the Sad Ones. It's named that because from here, if you go up towards the Alhambra and then up above on the hill is where we have the main cemetery in Granada called San Jose. And so this would originally have been the place where people would have gone up on their way to the cemetery for funerals. So in Granada we call it the Paseo de los Tristes, but the actual name is the Paseo de Padre Manjón. So now you can see a bit of the beautiful plaza that we have here down at the end of Paseo de los Tristes. It's a very warm day here in Granada. It's already about 88 degrees Fahrenheit. We're going up to 100 by the end of the week or a bit higher. It's also the first day of summer, so happy welcome into the summer to everybody. So from here you can actually see a beautiful view of the Alhambra. You can see that the plaza that we are standing in right now at the end of Paseo de los Tristes is right below the Alhambra. So the Alhambra is built up on a hill called the Sabica, and we are down in the city of Granada now, also just at the foot of the Albaicin neighborhood. Okay, before we walk up the Cuesta de Chapis and go on into the Sacromonte neighborhood, I just wanted to stop here. We are right along the Darro River. So the Darro River runs along here just below the Alhambra that you can see is right up above me. And then that main square that I just showed you right before this. So the Darro River runs actually all the way through the city of Granada, but this is the area where we can actually see it, because once it goes into the center, meaning the Plaza Nueva, and going through the main part of the city, it is actually covered up until it runs into the other river that we have in Granada called the Genil River. Okay, so we are just walking up the hill on our way to Sacromonte. We are walking up the street called the Cuesta del Chapis. It's the main street up here that basically separates the Albaicin quarter from the Sacromonte. And we're walking by here a school called Ave Maria. I mentioned below that the paseo that we were on was named after a man named Padre Manjón. He was a priest and a professor at the University of Salamanca and Santiago, and then came into Granada and began these schools called Ave Maria for underprivileged children. So we are just here at the entrance to the Sacromonte neighborhood, but I mentioned that it's about I think now it's at least 90 something degrees Fahrenheit. So we're gonna stop here quickly and do what anyone should do on a hot day in Granada and have a nice cold Alhambra beer and tapa as well. Okay, so we enjoyed that stop because it's so hot outside. We had to stop and have a nice cold beer, which we did. And since we're in Granada, it's actually where we live. Here in Granada, you get a free tapa with every drink that you order. So it was nice. We had like a little tortilla, Mexican tortilla actually, with pesto and tomato and cheese. So that was really good. There are other places in Spain as well where they give you a free tapa with your drink, but Granada is very well known for the free tapa. So that gave us some extra energies to keep climbing up into Sacromonte. Okay, so as we continue walking down the Camino de Sacromonte, which is the main streets in Sacromonte, you can see the caves from the outside here. Some of the caves, you can see how they are whitewashed or painted with lime. That would be both inside and outside of the cave. You have to maintain it to be able to also keep not just the walls healthy, but to keep the 60-degree Fahrenheit temperature more or less year-round. So you can see here the cave of La Rocia, which is one of the caves here, one of the most famous caves that's used here for flamenco, or for what we call the Zambra. Zambra are flamenco shows that we have here up in Sacromonte in the caves. that travelers come up to see the flamenco, and then at the end of the show they invite the people who are watching the flamenco to get up and join and dance with the dancers as well. So as we keep walking further along the Camino de Sacromonte, we have some more caves where the travelers can come and see the flamenco. We also have up here a few different places where you can actually come and stay in a cave, like a cave hotel, and enjoy the cave experience. Some different bars and small restaurants as well. There's also a museum that you can actually visit to go inside and see what the caves look like on the inside. Okay, we're going to continue walking up, further up into the Sacromonte. You can see the beautiful view of the Alhambra. One of the caves here that is also a restaurant. And there's also a couple schools up here. There's a school where you could actually study Castellano, come up here and study Spanish, and also study the art of flamenco, which is quite popular here in Granada. Sort of fun to see real quick how they come up here and collect the garbage and clean the streets. You can see how tiny that little truck was driving down one of these tiny streets up here, but you can actually come up obviously with motorcycles is much easier, but you can get up here in small vehicles as well. Okay, so we're going to continue walking up a bit further into the Sacromonte. I think it's nice for you to see some of the vegetation that we have up here. We're happily walking under a beautiful fig tree. You'll also find some orange trees, lemon trees, prickly pear, also pomegranate trees. Actually, the word pomegranate is Granada in Spanish. Here on the right, we have one of the hotels that I was talking about, where you can actually come and stay in Granada and sleep in one of the cave homes. So while you have a nice view here of the main road of Sacromonte and some of the mountains here in front, you're also going to have a view of the Generalife, the summer palace of the Alhambra and the gardens. I think it's nice for you to have a quick history of why the gypsies are here in Granada. The gypsies originally came from India. They passed through Egypt, went through different parts of Europe, and then came down into the Iberian Peninsula. When the Romani or gypsies arrived here in Granada, there were actually some people who had already started living in this valley of the Valparaiso. Some Moriscos, some of the Muslim converts to Christianity were living in this area, and there was a time when they actually lived together in this area of Sacromonte. Once the Catholic monarchs took over the city of Granada and the Jews and the Muslims were expulsed from the city, then the gypsies remained here. It is said that it was a mandate of one of the kings in Spain for the gypsies to remain here in Granada, so they stayed here in Sacromonte. And in 1963, there was days of flooding that happened here. A lot of rainfall that flooded this area. And because the floods destroyed so many of the cave homes in this area, a lot of the gypsy families went to live in the northern part of the city of Granada, in different housing areas, and just a few families actually stayed here in Sacromonte to live. And nowadays in Sacromonte you find a unique mixture of people, a lot of foreigners from different countries that come here to have this beautiful view of the Alhambra, and live here also with the gypsy families that have been living here for years. Okay, you can hear some music behind us or in one of the more animated areas of Sacromonte, because Sacromonte is actually a fairly quiet, peaceful neighborhood to either live in or take a walk through. There are a few bars on the main street, and up here on this street called Vereda de En Medio, there's one of my favorite bars owned by a man named Pepe, where people come up to have this beautiful view of the Alhambra and enjoy a view and some nice lively music during a quiet afternoon. There's actually a beautiful cave right up here on the right hand side, I lived in this cave for a couple years. So it has the bottom part of the cave. It has 2 main bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, and then upstairs it has a beautiful outdoor terrace that you can see. It also has an inside living room with a perfect view looking out on to the Alhambra. So as you can see, Sacromonte, besides being a quiet, nice area up here above the city, you also have these amazing views of the Alhambra as well. Okay, so we are just up here now on the corner close to the cave house that I used to live in, and one of my favorite fountains, or one of the only fountains actually in the Sacromonte neighborhood. It's called the Fuente de la Amapola, which means poppy, actually the poppy fountain. And it's also at the base of one of the most important walls of the Albaicin and the oldest. It's called the City Wall, dating back to the 11th century, and it begins right here on this corner, and then it goes further up the Sacromonte and crossing over also near the Albaicin neighborhood. And on the fountain of the Amapola, the poppy fountain, there's a beautiful saying that says, "How I would love to be the fountain in my neighborhood, so that every time you walk by and drink, I could feel close to your lips." Here you have a nice view of the fountain from close up, and also the beginning of the wall right here. A nice view of one of the streets going up to the caves, and also this street that I used to live on, the Vereda de En Medio. If you go further into the neighborhood, you find caves that are a little bit more rustic, we would say. Maybe they don't have so much running water and electricities, but people still choose to come up here and live in them. Okay, well, we are going to finish here this mini walk through the Sacromonte quarter here in Granada, Spain. You have a beautiful view of the Alhambra behind me to say farewell to for now, and also a nice view of part of the Albaicin quarter. So thanks for following us, and please remember to subscribe and to look at the other videos, and also to give a thumbs up if you like the videos, and we will continue to be taking you to different neighborhoods and beautiful places in Granada, also the province of Granada, all of Andalusia, the rest of Spain, and Portugal. Thanks for joining us.